I think we got a little bit of snow last night here. I'm so grateful for this neighbor and his tractor. The best neighbor ever. So I'm glad I didn't have to shovel that. Look at that. Oh my gosh, hello. Just a little bit of snow. So good morning, everyone. Hope you're having an awesome day, week, whenever you're watching this. I'm Tammy from Homemade and Homegrown. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm taking care of the chickens right now. Had to shovel a bit though. Whew. So I don't look so pretty. Anyway, let's see what these girls are doing. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. No, you can't come down yet. I know, you see the bucket. Yeah, you see the bucket down there. Can't have it yet. Just say hi to everybody. Hello. All right, let's get some eggs. I'm gonna get some icicles. Icicles. Yes, I know. You greet me here all the time. There we go. Yeah, they're never impressed when I come and get them. No, don't peck at it. Look at Jess. There, I know. No, don't peck at them. It's hard to hold this door up, plus the eggs so they don't break. I'm making sure these guys don't decide to jump out. Yeah, no. I know, okay, time to shut the door. Get in there. Now that's the first, you girls. Not coming down to get all the good stuff? Get down here. So yeah, as you can see, we got a little bit of snow. This is actually our second one that we got for the year. That's been a pretty good dumping. But, which is kind of unusual due to the fact that, gosh, the snowbank, I'll say. The snowbank's usually a heck of a lot higher than that by this time. And there's usually no more room to put it anywhere. So it's been a weird winter, but a nice one here. I won't complain, that's for sure. But I know the girls are getting a little, what do they call it? Cabin fever? They're getting a little cabin fever. They want to get out, so. But there's nothing for them to be foraging. But anyway, let's go inside and get these eggs in. Whew, all rosy cheeked. That's one way to wake up. Nice and fresh though. You feel alive. So, oh yeah, so I gotta tell you, we started on the sweet potato. And I did get a little bit of footage of me explaining that, what we did, or what I did, to get them started, and I'll show that right now, actually. Okay, so Joe wants to grow sweet potato this year, give it a try. So this is how you start a new plant. So first off, get yourself a sweet potato from your grocery store. And you have to identify the blunt end to the tip, to the pointy tip. Okay? When you do that, then you know that this is the top. Sorry, this is the top and this is the bottom. That's what's going to sit, this is what's going to sit in the water. as you can see here. So all you do is, if you can get a clear bottle or glass or something, and you're going to insert toothpicks to hold it so it'll be suspended into the water. And in probably a couple weeks, we'll start really seeing some new growth happening, new roots coming out. Okay, let me show you how to do it. So what Joe did was he cut the bottom off of a pop bottle. Went to the store yesterday, grabbed these potatoes. So like I said, identify the blunt end from the pointed end. Okay, so this stays up. So to make sure that it's suspended, I kind of just went like this, looked at it, and whoops, and made sure that it was kind of level to that. You just stick the toothpick in, keep it level all the way around, just like so. Let's see, we'll get you closer here. So this one's a little heavier, so I'm going to put a fourth one just to be secure. Okay, so there you go. Then I'm going to fill it up with lukewarm water. Just like that, and then put it in a well-lit windowsill. And that's what I'm doing here, the kitchen. There's lots of sun that comes in through here. So, pointed end stays up. Well, this is going to be a little awkward, but we can still do it. Alright, so just poke that through. Poke that through. Toothpick. So this one seems top heavy as well, so I'm gonna do 4. Yeah, because it's lean right over just like that. Okay. There we go. There. Now, warm water. Okay, that should be enough. Stick it in the windowsill. There we go. Okay, so there you go. So that'll sit there for probably about 2-3 weeks. We should start seeing what they call potato slips. Those are the things that we're going to be planting. Stay tuned. I'm so excited. Something just came in the mail and I can't wait to show you. I'm going to be able to do so much with this. Look. Vitamix. The premium of all blenders. I'm no way affiliated, just so you know. But I cashed in some air miles here. And if you're not from Canada, you won't know what that is. Well, you may know what it is, but it's a point collecting program. And I cashed in 8,000 air miles for this $900,000 machine. So let's open it together. Okay. It just came. Didn't take very long. I ordered it like, oh gosh, probably a week and a half ago. And it's here already. They said, give it 4 to 6 weeks before you get it. So I'm like, okay. Then I get the notification from them in the email saying, your order has been processed and it is out for delivery. What? Okay. Okay, I moved it at another table because it was too high up on the counter. So, here we go. Nice and big. Look at that. I love it. It says, simply blending. Quick and easy whole food recipes for every meal. You're kidding. They give you a cookbook? I didn't expect that. Oh, okay. Welcome to the family. Vitamix doesn't just make amazing products. With our Vitamix Rewards program, we're here to help provide tips, recipes, and inspiration that make it easy to include more whole foods in every meal. Nice. Okay. Oh, this must be packed in here like Fort Knox. Probably the pusher is the base. Oh, it's in there pretty good. Whoops. Put that over here. Are you like me and like bubbles? I love doing that. Yes, it's the kid in me. I'm really excited about this. Because I know all the things that can be done with this machine. And so I just think of all the different recipes and you know what I'm really thinking? Of all the tomatoes that I'm going to be growing this year and making my own sauce. That nice? Stainless steel. Oh. I have to learn how to operate this thing. It's, wow. That is nice. Okay, sweet. So I'm reading the manual. Yeah, pretty high tech for this little redneck girl. So the coolest thing that I'm really going to probably enjoy is all these recipes. Like when I first got this, I was thinking of my tomato sauce. So knowing that I was going to grow a whole whack of tomatoes this year when it comes to canning my own tomato sauce, and knowing that you can do things hot. I know my other blender, if I do anything hot, it would blow up, where this won't. And but I've been looking here in the Simply Blending book, recipe book that they gave me, which I was not expecting to get at all. And just the cool, like all the soups and the dips and the, of course, typical smoothies and things like that. But the sauces that you can make and salsa. I plan on making salsa this year too. I never did that. And so that's going to be awesome. There's just so many. And I could do my butter. I can do that in here. Like you can make your own, let's see here. Well, each button here represents something. So this one here is the smoothie. This is the like frozen desserts. This is hot soups. This is like dips and spreads, and a self washing button here. And so it's a 64-ounce container, which to me that's beauty. You can get 64 or you can get the 48. So I picked the 64. Go big or go home. But they even talk about you can make baby foods, doughs and batter, whole grain flours. This is powerful enough to make, like to grind all that stuff up too. So the possibilities are really endless when it comes to this machine. I'm so grateful that I had been collecting those points, because after I cashed in the points, I went to their website to find out this model and what it cost, and it said $8.97. My mouth dropped when I saw that. They've got puddings, they've got like cakes, carrot cake, so much that you can do with this, and yogurts. I'll be making yogurt. They've got, well, you can make your ice cream. You can do sherbet, the whole grains, whole grain flours, and grinding whole grains. So that is going to be good too, because we've got a store here that I like shopping at to get bulk stuff. It's gonna be a whole new adventure. I can't wait. And then having this book, I'm really pumped. Spices. Make your own spices. Chop up your own spices. Oh, sweet. But yeah, so when I was, like I said, when I was looking at the machine, my immediate thought was my tomato sauce. Now I know I could have got a less expensive blender for something like that, but why not? I've never owned anything this extravagant and this professional, and I just feel like there's going to be a lot of use coming out of this machine. And you can do other attachments with this thing too. I guess you could buy other attachments, but I don't know. I think I'm pretty happy with this. This is going to be a great blessing. So besides my cool delivery today, I'm actually planning my garden, how I'm going to lay things out and stuff like that. There's some plants that are some vegetable plants that shouldn't be planted and joined with one another. So they kind of hinder each other's growth, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the seeds that I purchased. I can't believe the lack of seeds that are starting to become a shortage. The shortage of seeds, that's what I'm trying to say. The shortage of seeds, I cannot believe. The seed companies, they're swamped. So many people are getting on the bandwagon of growing their own foods, which I think is probably one of the smartest things to do, because we're all going through this pandemic. When you see the Americans having shortages and their shelves are empty on the basics of things, of food items that are usually abundantly there, and their shelves are clear. I live here in Canada, and when I see what's going on in the States, it usually means it's not that far from Canada. So whatever's happening there is going to happen here. And God willing that it doesn't, but we don't know what this pandemic and this new year, 2021, is going to throw at us. But I do believe that everybody should open their eyes to the possibilities of what could happen. You know, not to fear anybody or anything, you know, but still, it doesn't hurt to prepare. And even if you live in a small apartment, you can get the, you know, buckets and pots and things like that. If you got a balcony, and lay everything out there. You can make a little table and have, you know, some of your plants laid out there. There really is all kinds of options no matter where you live. You don't have to be living out in the country with acreage. I've only got 2.5, not quite 3, just shy of 3 acres here. But you don't have to have all that in order to grow your own food. And then as for the meat, there's a lot of meat processors that are, you know, delivering to our grocery stores, but they're even getting scarce. There's a lot of waste going on. I believe that if you can find a local farmer, raises their own cattle, raises their own pork, their own pigs, you know, even goats and things like that, buy from a local farmer. I know where I used to live, there's Mennonites that are there. They're like Amish, and that's how they make their living too. So if you live anywhere near a community that has Amish or Mennonite, go find out who these people are. They're amazing people, and they could probably steer you in the right direction of who you can go to in order to get fresh meat and get your meat supply. Same with chickens and buying eggs and things like that. You want to prepare and watch videos like I've been watching. I've been watching a ton of videos on YouTube about preparing and canning. So this is another reason why I got this machine, was so that I can start canning certain, like my sauces and things like that. You know, learn how to can if you've never been taught. I was never taught, so I'm just learning as I go how to do that. So all you pros that are out there, anytime you ever see any of my videos, make sure that if you see a tip, if you've got a tip or a trick or anything like that, something that makes the job easier or whatever, let me know, comment below, right? But yeah, I'm learning it too. So that's why I started this channel, was mostly for me to learn and to share what I'm learning. And I just hope that other people are inspired to do the same thing. I know I got a hat head today. So we're going to keep the hat on. I know, we're inside the house. But yeah, I'm really excited to get this going. And but let's go to my grow station and my grow light table, and we'll start talking about the seeds that I got and what I plan on growing this year. Okay, Dad's in there watching The Price is Right, so we couldn't go buy the grow light. As gardeners, we do all that we can for our plants. We want to keep them healthy and we want to keep happy. But sometimes, no matter what you do, something happens, or you think that you've done something wrong, or like last year for me, some of the things, especially my peppers. My peppers really, I couldn't understand. I was watching all the videos, I was doing all that they said, but I guess I wasn't giving it enough fertilizer. Also, peppers are very heavy feeders, so you have to give them fertilizer every 7 to 14 days to keep them, happy. So now that I know that, I'm going to make sure that they are well fed this year. But there are plants that don't belong with each other, which is something I also didn't know. I haven't heard too much online about plant compatibility with one another and which plants should stay away from, other plants. So I decided to kind of do my own research about that and see what I come up with. And what I have found here, I'll share with you. But before I get into that, plants that don't like each other could be responding to different environmental needs and could be in direct competition with each other. Well, that made sense to me, but I wouldn't have thought of that last year with it being my first year. So now that it's my second year, and I feel a lot more confident going into this new growing season because of this new knowledge that I have. And I'm really excited to share it with you. It could also, some plants may attract insects and pests that could hinder the other plant that you've got beside it. So you're going to cause a severe problem with the other plant, right? So plus another thing is that we got to make sure that the soil types, each plant, when you buy the plant, so you go to the nursery or you go of the store or whatever, you go to a nursery and you buy a plant. So you buy a tomato plant and you're happy and you can't wait to get it home and get it into the ground. We shouldn't even be thinking of doing that first, okay? Because whatever that seed started in at the nursery, whatever they started it in, so they started it with seed starter, and then some may have even started it hydroponically, you don't know, and then they put it into a pot of soil. So it could be a high rich potting soil that they transferred that seedling into, so then that they could now ship it to the stores. We go to the store also at the time and we'll buy soil. But if you look at the bags, there's different types of soils. I never even thought of that either. You see potting soil, I just figured they were just naming it differently or whatever. But you'll get potting soil and planting or garden soil, things like that, right? So I just figured it was the same thing. And same went with manure, cow manure, sheep manure, peat moss, all that stuff. So, and what I figured I was doing right was I'd grab a bag of manure, whether it was sheep or cattle, it didn't matter. So I would grab one of those. I would grab a bag of potting soil or just soil, whatever it said on the bag. I just grabbed whatever the cheapest one was, I grabbed. And then, and then bought the plant and came home and la-da-da-da-da and happy. And then come to find out that, gee, it died. What happened? I gave it what it needed. All I did was transferred it and put it into my garden. Well, the soil that it went into may not have been prepared good enough for the new plant. Okay, sorry, I had to move to another room so I wasn't going to get distracted. So what I was trying to say was the soil conditions compared to what the plant originally grew from and your garden or whatever that you're starting is going to be completely different. So what happens is that the plant goes into shock, and then it obviously dies, right, if it isn't looked after quickly. So the best thing, what I learned, was that when you do get a plant home, okay, make sure that you put the soil and all the amenities, whatever that you're going to put in, any compost, things like that, manure, all that. If you're going to put all that in, so you're going to mix it all together and you're going to let it sit for a couple days, at least 4 days, and keep the plant in the pot that it's in, and put it beside, like in the pot or in the ground beside it, but don't plant it yet. Just leave it in there and let the plant now get used to its new environment. But definitely know that the soil types greatly influence the plants that we purchase. Also, if whatever, like the plant comes usually with like an instruction, a small little tag that goes in there, and if it's full sun, half sun, or whatever. But it also has the website of the company who grew the plant in the first place. Go to the website and see what they've used, or see if there's any videos or anything else, any other information that you can collect from how they operate, so that maybe you can try and implement those things with what you're doing on your garden. So there's a few basic rules that we have to figure out when it comes to compatibility, so plant compatibility. So check that your garden plants are relatively the same size and have the same light requirements. Example, like if you were to plant a tall tomato plant beside bush beans, then obviously the tomato plant is going to shadow over the beans, and so that's going to hinder the required sunlight that it's going to need. So it's going to hinder the growth of those beans. Another thing is that many usually will solve that problem by putting the shortest plants in their own row or along the edge of the garden, or plant them as a border planting. So that's easy enough. We could do that. Plants that need a lot of water will cause a great deal of trouble with the ones who need less water. The same goes with fertilizer. Some plants won't need as much feeding as another one. What I was saying about the pepper plants, don't put them beside something that is less, that like cucumbers or whatever, because the cucumbers won't get much of the fertilizer anyway, because the pepper will steal from it. It's always a good idea to plant things with similar nutritional and water needs together. Even then, you can often compensate by spacing them extra wide and providing enough fertilizer and water for both types of plants. The types of plants you should keep away from is keep cabbage away from strawberries. If you're planning on growing mint and onions, make sure they're not together. Pole beans and mustard seeds near beets, don't put them together. Any dill neighboring the carrots, you don't want them near the carrots. Cucumber, pumpkin, radish, sunflower, squash, or tomatoes, keep them away from your potato hills. This is a big one. So cabbage, cauliflower, corn, dill, potatoes, keep them away from your tomatoes. Now, that's why one of the gardens that we're opening up 2 this year, 2 new areas, and one of them is going to be mostly my tomatoes. And I'm going to have Joe build me a semi greenhouse around those, just to kind of protect them from things. They'll be my prized possession. Okay, so those types of things are what you want to keep an eye out on, and do your own research too. Make sure that you go online and find out plant compatibility and what should be planted together and what shouldn't. And that's all I did. So I found out the basics, and that's really all that I wanted to know, was the basics. And I know that it's got everything to do with Some are more heavy feeders than the other, and some need more water than the other one does. Your soil, so we got to make sure that your soil is in good shape. I have to put tons of amendments and compost and leaves, and I do food scraps. I put it all in my garden and mix it all up, because I have, and peat moss and vermiculite. That's a new one that I'll be putting in this year, because my soil is more clay, and you dig deep enough, you only have to go down maybe 3 inches and you're already getting into clay. And I've got a ton of rock too, so like big rocks. And my grandfather years ago, he used to say that the ground is so good it even grows rocks every year, because we would clean out every spring. We would clean out the rocks, as many as we could, and then come spring the next year, it was like as if we never pulled out a rock. And so he used to joke and say that the ground was so good that it even grew rocks. So it was just an ongoing joke with Grandpa. And I still say it today, because the area that I'm at, it's the same thing. Every year I pull out rocks upon rocks upon rocks. And these are the big boulder type rocks. So how do you miss them, right? From the year before. But anyway, so let's get into the seeds that I purchased and what I'm going to be growing this year. Okay, so this year I'm going to be planting a variety of different peppers. And I researched each one so that I know what to, what soil to put them in, the fertilizing, how high the fertilizer that they need, things like that. A good basic fertilizer for heavy feeders, plants, is a 20-20-20. On each bag or bottle or whatever of fertilizer, there is numbers, and they represent nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those 3 numbers, so each one will have a level of that nutrient. So peppers, they need a lot of nitrogen. So I'm going to go with a higher percentage of fertilizer that has like a higher number. So when I said 20-20-20, that is a pretty good equalized fertilizer that will be plenty for my peppers and the other things that I'm going to be growing. We've got California Wonder Peppers. Now, what I did this year too is I made sure to purchase seeds from Canada. One, to support our Canadian small business. I wholeheartedly believe in supporting small business and keeping our money in Canada. That is one of the biggest things. So I wanted to make sure that all my seeds that I purchased came from a Canadian source. So this is from O Canada Seeds. And so you can go on their website also. So these are California Wonder Peppers. Also, I know that the seeds are going to be compatible with Canadian weather as well. So you can buy seeds that come from China or wherever, and they're not compatible with our environment. So that's another thing that you got to take into consideration. Okay, so there's that. And then I also got this Canadian company, Seeds for Planting, and no, sorry. Yes, that's what they're called, Seeds for Planting. And they have these peppers here. And I love that they went an extra mile and explained everything about the germination, the temperature that you're going to need, as well as the temperature for your soil, when to plant them, how high, like this says plant them 18 to 24 inches apart in a sunny, well-drained spot. Pepper plants need at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight per day. Mix compost or other organic matter into the soil when planting. Water immediately after planting, then regularly throughout the season. Aim for a total of 1 to 2 inches per week that it's going to grow. Support each pepper plant with a stake or small tomato cage. We're going to have the cattle panels, and I'm going to use them as my support. And then I purchased also my vegetable garden, another Canadian, it was still O Canada seeds, still the same thing, but I liked this because it was a multi-pack. So this comes with beans, carrots, cucumbers, kale, peas, more peppers, lettuce, spinach, tomatoes, and zucchini. Those types of vegetables are really, they grow great in any climate in Canada. When you consider your garden and what you're going to grow, and they're also probably, besides the peppers, now that I'm learning though, all of these are the easiest vegetables to grow. I had no problem with my cucumbers, my carrots. I had no problem with beans. I had a ton of beans. My spinach, tomatoes, zucchini. I had an abundance of zucchini. But everybody knows that, you know, you really only need 3 to 4 plants. But if you're just a small family, 1 to 2 plants of zucchini is plenty, because they just keep pushing and pushing and more zucchini. As soon as you start plucking them, they start making more. And I love that she, O Canada, and I have no affiliation to this girl either, or to this company, but a thank you card. I think when you deal with small business, they go the extra mile. I operate my own small business. I'm a Mary Kay beauty consultant also on the side. I may not look it right now, but but yeah, small businesses, they always go the extra mile. So I really appreciated getting this card along with my order. Moving on. So I'm going to be growing radishes. Radishes are going to be a huge staple because I'm on a special diet, and I have to, even though I'm growing potatoes as well, I have to keep an eye on, well, I'm not eating potatoes yet, so, but I'm going to have potatoes stored. So there's going to be 2 different types of radishes that I'm going to be growing. One is a champion radish seed, which is pretty popular, and I got a lot, so I grabbed 2. Oh, this is a gift. So I got one, and I got one for free. That's awesome. That's what small business does. They want to make sure that you get treated special. The other one that I'm going to be growing is, I'm not sure what this one's called, but it's a long one. It's not a round. You see how this one's round and this one is long. But no, as I was saying, I'm on a special diet, so we're going to be using the radishes as potatoes in my recipes. So, but yeah, this is something new that I'm going to be doing, and I can't wait to see what these are like. We're going to be doing cauliflower. Now, my cauliflower last year didn't do the greatest either, but again, you learn as you go. Cauliflower, I think cauliflower and broccoli are, and maybe not so much peppers, but I'm going to add peppers because I had problems last year. I had nice tall plants, but no fruit. That's what was going on. Cauliflower and broccoli, I think, are probably one of the hardest ones to grow. But I also found out, too, that they're not heat lovers. They like a cool soil. So here in Canada, what I have to do for my broccoli and my cauliflower is I need to start the seeds like 8 to 10 weeks early before I'm going to put them in the ground. Okay, so in my area, the last frost date is May 15th. So if I go back 6 to 8, 9 weeks, that brings me back to March 15th. So most of my seeds are going to be planted that weekend, March 15th to the 25th. Things like my broccoli and cauliflower and tomatoes, peppers, those are going to be what I'm going to plant first. So a new one here also, my Patriot Supply, I'm going to be growing a snowball self-blanching seed. So this says sow seeds indoors before last frost, or direct sow seeds outside after last frost. Now, I did the last frost last year. It took forever for them to germinate, so I'm going to make sure that I germinate them and start them inside first before I get them outside. Broccoli, we're going to do broccoli. Squash. So for me, we don't necessarily eat a lot of squash, but this particular one, this butternut squash, grew really well last year. They're called Waltham butternut. They actually have a germination 95%. So I'm also going to be growing some spaghetti squash. I started it late, which I thought that was wrong, but apparently because it is another squash that enjoys, or another vegetable that likes a cooler ground and 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. So spaghetti squash, the one plant that I did do, it grew like really fast, and I was quite surprised. I didn't think, when I planted it, I did not think that I'd get anything out of it, honestly, because of how late I had planted it. But it gave me a couple squashes, and yeah, so that was pretty cool. So we don't eat very many carrots, but because that package from O Canada Seeds had carrots in the package, we're going to try it. What the heck? So these are called Scarlet Nanty. Let's see if you can see what make up what that is. Scarlet Nanty carrots. So it's quite a lot of seeds in these packets that she sent out too. Of course, I'm going to be doing zucchini again. So the variety that I'm going to be growing is Black Beauties. But I'm also going to try a new one. But last year, I got these from our co-op, and they're called Gold Rush. So a yellow zucchini. So I'm going to be growing those. Cucumbers, of course. I'm going to be doing cucumbers. I'm going to be doing peas, different varieties of tomatoes, lettuce, and spinach. I'll be doing that. Onions at seed. So I definitely have to start them early too. When you do onions by seed, you want to make sure that you start them early. Beets, we don't eat many beets, but I'm going to start because they're so healthy for you. They're so good for you, and I'm going to just bite the bullet. Also, I've got some kidney beans, red and black, so I'll be growing those as well. Bush beans and pole beans, I can't wait to get those started. Pole beans, I have some raised beds down in the garden, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach one end of the fencing to the box, and then attach the other end of the box so that it's going to be like an archway, and I think it's going to be so beautiful and fun walking in between that while everything's growing. And it's so much easier to pick and harvest the beans when it's like eye level, right? So that's going to be fun. So I can't wait for that. We'll make sure that we take you along with us, because there's going to be some renovations going on in the garden compared to what I had last year. So I can't wait for that. I'm going to be adding a few extra things to the garden just to make my life easier and give my back a break. So things like that, putting the archway and stuff like that. And one thing too is that when you grow things like that, you can put, your cucumbers and things like that, and have them grow up on these things. The more space that your vines have to grow, the more fruit you're going to get. And if it's the type of plant that will just continue to grow, especially pole beans, they'll keep going as long as you give them support. And they'll just keep going up and up and up. So I figure you just take a row along, like when you plant them, make a row on either side of the fencing that I'm going to be doing, and then just let them kind of join climbing up there, and they'll just drape over each other. So I'm pretty excited about that. I can't wait. That's my excitement for the day. I got a new Vitamix machine. I'm planning my garden and the seeds that I'm going to get. So I want to thank you for joining me today. It's been fun. I'm so excited for the 2021 season. I'll be also I'm going to be doing a video on my seed starter, the soil, and what I'm going to be doing to prep that. So I'll be sure to do a video and include you in that process. Again, thanks for your support. If you like what you have watched here, be sure to subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss another meeting. Have an awesome day. God bless. And again, thank you. Bye for now.